And we are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. Make sure to smash up that like button. I don't have any actual live viewers right now, but I'm sure the room will fill up at any moment. I know I'm streaming later than normal. It's about 11 p.m. here on the East Coast. Okay, we got somebody. It's about 11 p.m. here. Once again, the eternal drama of fucking car trouble. I had to have an axle replaced, and then I had my brakes done, even though I didn't really need to have my brakes done. But I bought like tons of parts just in case other stuff was wrong, and which wasn't. So I get the joy of returning that tomorrow. But at least I get my money back for that stuff. So, life goes on, and I'm trying to improve it. We'll see if that doesn't happen relatively soon, but that's a story for another day. Story for another day. It is Monday. Welcome to the Monday Night Chill Stream, albeit a little bit late. Tonight's title of tonight's stream is Trusted Third Parties. This is a concept that it's not particularly unique to Bitcoin people, but Bitcoin people talk about it a lot. The idea that you trust some third person to take care of your money, your wealth, and that is a problem. It's a hole in your security. If you trust a bank to safeguard your valuables, you could be in a world of shit. You could be in a real world of shit. Here's the first screen share, which is a pretty good one. I mean, not that it'll surprise a whole lot of people, but understand that trusted third parties are a hole in your security. And when people decide to violate your security, they're going to do it. They're going to do it big time. And the federal government likes to do it. They don't like to be namby-pamby. They don't like small audiences. I have a tiny audience of 32 viewers or whatever I have in total. In total. Not everyone shows up at once, of course, but the feds they like a big audience. They like a big show. They have the power. They have the money. They have the reach. And I'm waiting for this screen share. Man, am I waiting. Thank the Lord. Thank God it has finally arrived. Thank God my boomer tech has not completely abandoned me. So this story is from the LA Times the other day. I think it's September 24th or something like that. FBI agents drilled and pried open 1,400 safe deposit boxes. 18 months later, newly unsealed court documents show that the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Los Angeles got their warrant for that raid, a raid on a bank where they opened 1,400 safe deposit boxes by lying to the judge who approved the warrant. Trusted third parties are security holes. So you trusted your bank, you had a safe deposit box, FBI comes in, just drills them, rips them open, you know what I mean? And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't stop it, right? Trusted third parties are security holes. BQ, custodial crypto wallets are shit. Hola, Mr. Hugh. When you say custodial wallets, you're talking about hot wallets like on your phone or online wallets, hot wallets versus cold wallets. Technically, hardware wallets, if you want to get super geeky, are really signing devices because your Bitcoin's really always on the internet. And so, they're which signing device you like or don't like, is a topic of hot contention in the Bitcoin space. But the hottest topic of contention right now is, do you use a stainless steel pan or a cast iron pan to cook stuff in? This is the level of concern that Bitcoiners have for 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 current events. Oh, I meant to. And there's a perfect meme for this. I don't know if I sent it to myself or not. I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to appear less than professional on my own show, but I will send myself an email, and then I can show you the attitude, the proper attitude one should have. What is that? You just uh, so yeah. So when you hear these people talk about this is going to change, that's going to change, democracy sucks. We're going to throw out democracy and we're going to bring in the whatever fucking Francisco Franco, this rice and beans Hitler. I don't know who the fuck you think you're gonna like. That's good. It's gonna fix all this shit. Most people can't think outside the systems that they currently live in. People grew up. Most Americans grew up with those green pieces of paper. Is money. That's real money. After World War II, everyone in Europe would take that money. It didn't matter what country you went into. American tourists were like, oh boy, the Europeans couldn't wait to have American tourists come over because one, American dollar was super strong. Two, Americans didn't realize that there's a 15% gratuity built into everything over there anyway, so they would tip on top of it. And this was great. And the globe uses the U.S. dollar, and the U.S. dollar is real money in the minds of maybe billions of people. But the reality is, it's not. You know what I mean? And it hasn't always been, and it will not always be. The question is it in danger right now? Well, it's starting to be, because these other, I said this earlier, as the weaker fiat currencies fail, the dollar will get stronger and stronger. So it will appear super inevitable. It will appear indomitable. You know what I mean? Because the British pound is failing. The Argentine peso is failing. The Indian rupiah is failing. The Lebanese dinar is failing. All these other, the euro is falling against the dollar. The dollar, the super mighty, almighty dollar that can't be beat. As hyperinflation kicks in, high inflation turns into hyperinflation. The weaker criminal enterprises that are the Argentine peso, that are the rupiah, the Bangladeshi, whatever, the weaker, more corrupt ones will collapse first. The U.S. dollar will collapse last, but it will collapse because you cannot taper a Ponzi scheme. The U.S. dollar is the ultimate Ponzi scheme. Most real Bitcoiners, as opposed to those fake Bitcoiners, are like this. This is largely our attitude as we go through life. Let me just click on Chrome tab, and then we'll go back to chat. VQ in the chat. I don't trust Binance. Well, you shouldn't trust any exchange, but right now, and I've got a little bit of a beef with a lot of these pothead Bitcoiners, which their brains really don't work right. I don't know how much weed they smoke, and they talk about you got to have 3.5 grams of smoke, 3.5 grams of cannabis a day. I don't even know what that means, but I know that the marijuana that people smoke today is like literally 100 times stronger than the shit that I smoked in 1979. And it's really, really, really bad for your brain. So this is a meme that somebody made. This was some movie. I don't know what this guy, nice enough looking kid, but I don't know. It was like a movie that was a video game or something like that. I don't recall. I don't watch most movies. In fact, on the flight to Greece, I tried to watch The Northman. That was a terrible film. That was such a horrible. I was trying to watch that film. They said it was like Wakanda for white people. If that's the level of the Wakanda movie, I won't be able to watch the Wakanda movie. But I thought The Northman was absolutely terrible, like beyond terrible. I tried desperately to watch it, but I only made it like maybe 25 or 30% of the way through. But understanding that the world is propped up by the U.S. dollar, and the world going to shit means the U.S. dollar is going to shit. Faster for some than others. But if you have a focus on something that is not the US dollar and you don't think that there's a way to rearrange the deck chairs in the Titanic, we'll just rearrange the government in a slightly different order. We'll call ourselves a monarchy and not a democracy, or we'll be we I don't know how we just my mic got muted and something else happened and whatever. Technical issues. Please stand by. We're experiencing technical difficulties. The US dollar collapsing is everything else collapsing, you know. That's morality, that's good manners, that's all this stuff. It's all collapsing, and it's really collapsing because the money stops working. When the money stops working, people's behaviors change immediately. You know what I mean? Whatever. Jonathan Poll's working in a supermarket in New Mexico, and he notices how when the food prices go higher, people buy less food, but they buy more alcohol. You know what I mean? Their behavior changes instantly. It's not a laser beam being sent from a satellite into their head. It's not 37 years of Jewish propaganda, of feminism and this and that. It's the money in your wallet stops fucking working. Your behavior changes that fast. For a lot of people that think, they think about shit, you've never experienced any sort of scarcity or any sort of struggle. And so you are attracted to these super complex explanations for really simple shit. When my friend starvation and homelessness come to your fucking door, everything you think you are, everything you think you believe is going to fucking change so fast. You will jump in. You will become like super Antifa. You'll be like Antifa on fucking steroids. Trust me. When reality comes to your fucking door, all of your cherished beliefs go out the fucking window, like in seconds, in absolute seconds. You literally will not remember the life you fucking led up to this point. And that's something I promise you will fucking happen. It absolutely will happen. What did I want to show you? People think I'm crazy, like, oh, you're always talking some shit, fucking, the Greeks and the Romans and blah, 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 blah. And I pointed out to Charlie Munger, who is the chief, whatever. He's not the CEO for Warren Buffett, but he's like the CFO, chief financial officer, or whatever he is. Has drawn the parallels between Rome and the United States, the debasement of the Roman currency, and the fall of Rome. Charlie Munger is a billionaire, and I live in a one-bedroom apartment in New Jersey. But here's another billionaire, a guy named Carl Icahn, who was very, very big deal in the 1980s. Although he just lost a shit ton of money recently on wind farms down in Texas. But billionaire investor Carl Icahn warns the worst is yet to come for investors and compares U.S. inflation to the fall of the Roman Empire. It seems somehow I'm front-running billionaires. My thinking, the stuff that I say, is 2 or 3 years ahead of these guys who everyone thinks is super smart. You'll listen to Carl Icahn because he's a billionaire, right? He's got a lot of money, so he must be smart and he must know what he's talking about. And I don't have a lot of money, so I must be talking crazy nonsense. And the difference is you have no way to tell what is sensible and what's not sensible. But you have a bias towards listening to those who have a lot, regardless of the fact that the way they achieved that wealth is not in compliance with your ethical worldview. Luke Ford is bullish on the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is dead meat. Nothing. Luke Ford couldn't be more fucking wrong. From the moment the sun comes over the fucking horizon to the moment the sun fucking sets on the other end of the fucking earth, Luke Ford is as wrong as the fucking day is long. So let's talk about another billionaire. Another billionaire dude. Where is it? I don't know that this this seems more polemic than actual news, but it's dated at September 20th. I don't know that our friend Jeff Bezos is doing this, but he may be doing this because I know that Jeff Bezos is in fact opening supermarkets. They're called Amazon Fresh centers. So you will have all your packages delivered via Amazon, and then you will have your food delivered by Amazon, and they will know exactly how much carbon you're burning up, and how quickly they can send the FBI to drill into your safe deposit box to take whatever fucking fiat notes you're hiding. So this is from I don't think this is a Twitter account. Maybe it is Jared A. Brock, but it doesn't say where he's from. He wrote an article. I guess you could tweet it. You could put it on Facebook, whatever. Billionaire monopolist Jeff Bezos is buying up single-family homes to rent trap humanity forever. And then beneath that, the beginning of the first paragraph is, why can't people understand? Money hoarding dragons will not stop until they are stopped. So I guess he's going a little bit hobbits, a little sword and sorcery fantasy kind of thing. Trying to get his message out to the cosplay community. But he isn't wrong. He is not wrong. Whether it's BlackRock or it's Bezos, the idea that you're going to be a debt slave and your children are going to be debt slaves forever and ever and ever and ever is a very, very real possibility. And you're ignoring it, and most people are ignoring it. They think it's too wild or fantastic of an idea. And they think that Donald Trump is going to save them, or Ron DeSantis is going to save them, or Bernie Sanders, or whatever. And none of these people are going to save you. V. Hugh in the chat. Luke Ford thinks Bitcoin's going to zero. Bitcoin's been declared dead like literally 500 times. You know, we welcome you. Let's go straight Bitcoin being dead. Well, not really being dead. This was an effort to effectively kill or co-opt Bitcoin, and it failed. I mentioned it at the time, but somebody just reposted this, so I'll bring it back up. And here's the what am I doing? Click there. Here's the thing: for the average person, most people in life, $1 million is still a lot of money. You know, it's a lot of fiat. You know, $1 million. You want to be like Mr. Evil, you got to put your pinky by the corner of your mouth. But the thing about $1 million in Bitcoin and trying to change the minds of Bitcoiners is we don't give a fuck. Okay, you can take $1 million and bribe someone. You can bribe a politician with $1 million. You can bribe a rock star with $1 million. You can bribe a lot of people, right, with $1 million. If what is being manipulated, right, can be manipulated by a select few, like politicians, right, politicians and legislators, right, you can bribe them to pass laws or don't pass laws. You can bribe judges to issue, injunctions or stop or not issue injunctions. You know what I mean? $1 million is a lot of money. It's life-changing money for an individual. But Bitcoin is a decentralized network of many, many people and corporations, and probably a couple of small, El Salvador, the government of El Salvador, and now the Central African Republic, a couple of small governments. So you can't bribe all of us, and we don't like you anyway. So the story is Greenpeace spent $1 million on their change the code advertisements to intensify their attack on Bitcoin's proof of work. Okay. And it didn't work. You spent $1 million and you got nothing for it. Any other time, right? $1 million bribe would get you whatever you want. Okay. $1 million is like 2 suitcases full of money. Okay. Most of you don't even have 2 suitcases, much less 2 suitcases full of $100 bills. So spend more, come back again, try to change the code, do whatever you want to do. Try 51% attack. Try whatever you want. Virgil Doc, Purple Heart, welcome to the show, sir. Thank you for the kind comments in the previous video. So $1 million is a great bribe, but it's not when you have 125 million people in a financial network of Bitcoin who hate the US dollar to begin with, it's not really going to gain traction. But we'll cheerfully watch you burn more. Spend 10 million on the next attack. Spend 20. You know what I mean? And because we will fucking laugh our asses off because you aren't changing anything. Okay, in the same way that people who cannot understand that the U.S. dollar was not always money and will not always be money, that currencies come and go. There was there were all sorts of currencies throughout history, right? That at one time were a big deal. The French franc, the Swiss franc, the British pound, blah, 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 right? They were on top and then they were underneath, right? Even when it was gold coins, there were gold guineas and the Spanish doubloon, and then there was some other fucking coin issued by somebody else. For a while it was on top and then it dropped in value. Now the precious metals, of course, always keep their value. You could just melt them down and put the picture of the new king or the new government. Somebody likes a bird on their coin. Another person wants a snake. Whatever you could, as long as the precious metal, it's a precious metal, right? But the regime that issued it, the Spanish doubloon, right? They were going great right up until they built this huge armada. They're going to sail to England. They're going to get those fucking limey cocksuckers. They're going to kill them all. But they, and this happened a couple of times in history. These gigantic fleets of fucking ships get destroyed by weather. It happened to the Spanish and it happened to the Chinese when they invaded Japan. So, I mean, this whole grand master plan, all this planning, all this material, all this entire fucking huge armada gets wiped out because you couldn't wait a day and let the clouds go by. This is some, it's a very interesting twist of history. But the point is, what seems absolutely inevitable and unstoppable and unchallengeable changes faster than you can imagine. And that's going to happen to the US dollar. And it's right around the time the currency is going to collapse. Now, will they replace it with a digital dollar? They're going to try, but they're so far from being able to do it. If they could do it, they would have already done it. They would have already done it. They would have eliminated cash. All of this stuff is like those stupid Boston Dynamics robots you see. You know what I mean? Which are all fake as fuck. The last one had the robot shooting things. There was like, you could see a fucking red dot on top of the fucking robot. Robot doesn't need a red dot. A red dot's a type of electro-optical sighting device that's used on rifles and pistols. So it doesn't, in the 80s, they shot a red laser beam on you and you could see the red, like a laser pointer dot on you. Well, a red dot doesn't actually shoot anything. There's no beam coming out of the device. You see it in the device when you look through the glass, but there's no beam actually coming out of the device. And a robot dog would not need a fucking red dot to shoot you. But you don't know that. You're not a gun guy and you're not a robot guy. You just see the robot dog running around pretending to shoot shit, and it's all fucking CGI. And people are like, oh my God, the robot Terminators are coming after us. They're not coming fucking after you at all. You know what I mean? This is fucking fear porn, and you buy into it. Like I've pointed out on previous shows, Boston Dynamics cannot keep their corporate logo lit over their headquarters in Boston. They literally cannot keep the fucking lights on. So I look at those videos and I laugh my ass off. People responding to them like Robo Lassie is going to kick in their fucking door and shoot them dead. It ain't going to happen. It's just never going to happen. The potheads of Twitter, the pothead Bitcoiners, every now and then they're like, oh, what are we going to do if the government comes after us? Like, they're going to find all the Bitcoin we bought from the exchanges. What are we going to do? And they scream and they cry. When you consider Max Kaiser and Michael Saylor now owns or controls 130,000 Bitcoins, right? They're coming after him first. If the government's coming after somebody, it's the guy who owns or controls 130,000 Bitcoins. And Max Kaiser, we don't know how many he controls. He once gave a laptop with 50,000 Bitcoins to Alex Jones. So how many does fucking Max Kaiser have? 5 million? Who the fuck knows how much? Something happens to Max Kaiser or something happens to Michael Saylor, Bitcoin's in trouble, right? but they're coming after your fucking half a Bitcoin or whatever the fuck you got, 2 Bitcoins, 5 Bitcoins. They don't need to drill down that deep. They just grab Michael Saylor and they get 130,000 in one shot, right? They put him in a fucking room. They waterboard him, whatever. They pluck his eye out with a fucking pair of rusty pliers. They're going to get a lot more than they're going to get from you, you dumb fucking stoner. But the thing about these stoners, and I didn't realize that I had a stoner Bitcoin chick following me on Twitter. And I mean, she was a nice enough looking girl, but she can't keep a relationship because she's on fucking drugs all the time. She can't keep a boyfriend. She tried to detox. She left Canada and she went to Europe to try and detox. And she didn't really say anything, but she said 14 days out. So she has had no marijuana for 14 days. And when she sleeps at night, she started to dream again. So these hardcore marijuana users, when they sleep, their brain doesn't dream. Whatever part of your brain is responsible for dreams doesn't work. And I think this is why these people are so delusional, because the brain needs to dream. That's why we do it. It's not as meaningful as you think it is, right? It doesn't mean all the things that people say it means. It's just the brain processing a bunch of shit. And then whatever systematic inputs are in your body, you never feel your feet in dreams because your feet are off the fucking floor. Your brain is, the nerves in your feet are not telling the brain that they're there. So the brain doesn't know they're there. But whatever, dreams are nowhere near as meaningful as people have claimed them to be over the centuries. But if you're taking drugs that shut off your brain's ability to dream, your brain's going to try and fucking come back somehow. So you go through the day and you're probably delusional. You're probably reading shit wrong, looking at the wrong things and drawing the wrong fucking conclusion, because the part of your brain that needs to rest and recharge is not resting and recharging because you're drugging the fuck out of yourself. VQ, weed turns you into a schizo. It has negative effects on you, especially, and the super stuff that they have today is just, the consequences for this are going to be really long lasting for a lot of people. And I really don't think it's reversible. I do not believe that it is reversible, but this is, I don't know if I showed this last week. This is one of my favorite, I love this one. Because this is, I had this experience just recently on Twitter. It's like, he's noticed Jewish power, but he's like a 14-year-old kid. He's like, are you my ally? Are you my enemy? Are you a real frog or a fake frog or whatever? And I'm going to tell you what my anti-Semitic bona fides are. Are you fucking kidding me? I got to prove to some fucking jerk who I am. So I particularly like this meme. It suits me. You can see Pepe's got some dumbbells in his hands, and he's got his ear pods or something. So definitely he's a lift Pepe, although he's not the most fit Pepe you've ever seen. But obviously he's working on it, right? He's working on his self-improvement, and then some lunatic comes by and then literally says, "Yeah, thank you for changing my life. I'm a cartoon frog, and you're fucking some mentally ill loon on fucking social media." I'll just keep the proper perspective on this sort of stuff, guys. At the end of the day, you have to go out and live your own life, whatever that looks like. You know what I mean? For me, I did my whole big Europe adventure. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I got a passport. I got a foreign country. See what happens for 10 days. I had a fucking ton of fun. I would do it again in the blink of an eye. I'm trying to figure out how I can do it again in the future. But, you have to go touch grass, as the kids say. Go out and touch grass. Go and do the fucking thing. I mean, for me, it's kind of late in life, but whatever. I still did it, and nobody held my hand. The government didn't pay. The government did not pay my way, and neither did my parents or anything else. What is this one? Let's see. Let's talk about my favorite guy, who's not really my favorite guy, Thomas Jefferson. Right? I love how big that one came out. Thomas Jefferson, who I found out was never fired a shot in anger, even though he was direct commissioned colonel in the U.S. Army. When the British Army came to arrest the legislature of Virginia, he ran off and hid on his farm in Mount Vernon and never, never fired a shot in anger. So my respect for TJ and the concepts of Jeffersonian democracy have fallen quite a bit. But I pointed out a couple weeks ago, that Ben Franklin said that the money masters of Europe will not allow an honest currency in the colonies, and this is the cause for much consternation or whatever. So that Ben Franklin basically said that the Currency Act, enacted by King Richard, that the colonists, the Americans, had to use the British pound and pay interest on the British pound to the Bank of England, which of course was owned by the Rothschilds. This sparked was the real fuel, the real motivation to kick off the revolution. And here's Thomas Jefferson: the banks have the regulation of the safety valves of our fortunes and condense and explode them at their will. That is to say, the banks control our financial destiny, right? He wrote that to John Adams in 1819. This would have been around the time of the second bank of America, the one that Andrew Jackson ultimately killed. So, and Andrew Jackson, who survived an assassination attempt, and on his deathbed was heard to say his final words were, "I killed the banks," and that was the ultimate act of the ultimate sense of pride he had, that he had destroyed the enemy of the country he loved and was president of. The real motivations were not what they told you in the history books. The real motivations are much plainer. And like I said, when the money stops working, people go crazy. All these riots you're seeing all over the place, Bangladesh, Argentina, Colombia, all those places, the money stops working. People are going nuts. In Europe, they cranked up the money still works. I mean, the euro was down, but they're whacking people with electric bills that are like literally 1,000% higher than they were, or something like that. Like, they're doing it on purpose, and this is what causes people to run out and do crazy shit, and they're going to do crazier shit. They're going to do crazier shit, and but you have to be smart, and you have to understand that there's going to be a lot of that. It's when I say it's Bitcoin only. Bitcoin is just a protocol. Anyone can mine it. There's no insider group. There's no venture capitalists running this thing, and every other crypto is a scam. It's all exit liquidity, right? Exit liquidity is the insiders get in for, 1,000. You buy in for $1, and they sell you, 1,000 of them for $1 each, and that they got for fucking a penny. You know what I mean? You are their exit liquidity, and you don't want to be. The stock market is that. The whole idea of the stock market is you're going to buy a stock at $5 and sell it at $15, right? 6 months or a year later. Well, what about the person who bought it at $14.95? Your attitude is like, fuck them. You know what I mean? I'm out. I got my exit liquidity. I got my price, and I'm done. The entire stock market is based on someone else being your exit liquidity, someone else being your profit that they never intended to be, right? That's the whole idea of it. So there was a crypto called Helium, you know what I mean? So crypto darling Helium promised you a people's network. Instead, its executives got rich. There's a group of insiders, they make up these crypto projects. They're basically unregistered securities. And they pay people to hype this shit up, and they get people to fucking dump their life savings. Some Uber driver, somebody working at a 7-Eleven, the midnight shift, hoping not to get shot in the face over a 6-pack of fucking beer by some insane fucking dindu. And they put their life savings in something that's the next Bitcoin, or better than Bitcoin, or faster than Bitcoin, or more secure than whatever. Like, it's even better than Bitcoin. It's not. It's an exit scam. It's all fucking scams. Every fucking one of these things is a scam. Bitcoin is the only legit thing because it's the only thing that is open source that anyone can do. But you have to put in the work. You don't put in the work, you don't get the reward. That's a different concept from you're my exit liquidity, where I'm going to use deception to gain something of value from you and give you something of lesser value or no value. Okay. That's not again, these core concepts, these basic ideas, people can't wrap their heads around because that's not the way you live. And that's not the way successful people, the rich people, live, right? You think of rock stars and all these other fucking people. What do? They sing a song, you feel a feeling, and you're like, oh yeah, here's whatever, $16 for your fucking CD. And you just get a feeling. They get 16 real fucking dollars. Chris Holton, Bitcoin requires exit too. It does not. Sorry, it absolutely does not. Everett, I think I saw you before. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Chris Holton. Every savings method requires exit. Chris Holton, so locked into the US dollar, he cannot imagine that there will ever be any other currency. Interesting side note, I was watching a video. When the Civil War broke out, the Bank of England, the European bankers offered to finance Abraham Lincoln's war effort at 30% interest. They said, we'll give you as much money as you want, just because it pays back 30% interest. Abraham Lincoln said, no. We're going to issue our own state currency called the greenback. You might have heard of the greenback, right? And then we're going to use that to fight the war against the South. The South was, of course, fighting for its economic survival. A very short time after the issue of the greenback, Abraham Lincoln was sitting down watching a play, and you know what? He caught one in the back of the fucking head. John Wilkes Booth wasn't worried about Negroes. He wasn't crying over the suspension of the Constitution. You know what I mean? He was a fucking hitman hired by the bankers of fucking Europe, and they will never tell you that. But the greenback all of a sudden got tossed. You know what I mean? It was no longer issued by the state, and it went right back to central banking after that. So that was the second bank of the United States. So that this is all the assassinations, all the wars, all this shit comes from central banking. All of it. It doesn't come from ideology. It doesn't come from the fact that you're a Republican and you're a Democrat, or he's a Whig or he's a populist. That's all fucking bullshit. Nobody kills over shit like that. Nobody gives a fuck. But you mess with my paper, you know what I mean? As they say in the hood, as my homies in the hood say, you fuck with my paper and, fuck around and find out. So state-issued currencies that do not rely on central banking, anyone who does that has a tendency to catch a bullet in the head. JFK did that with silver certificates and whatever, like 5 weeks before fucking Dallas. And the U.S. issued like $4 or $5 billion of these silver certificates, which everybody immediately started using. And that made the Federal Reserve nervous. And next thing you know, Kennedy catches a bullet in the fucking head. And whoever may have known or not known about this, what's his name? Oswald, he just happened to get killed by a Jewish dude named Jack Rubenstein or Jack Ruby. You know what I mean? What a fucking coincidence, huh, Goy? What a fucking coincidence. And of all the conspiracy retards, they're always into all this bizarre shit. How about this? Kennedy issued a directive for the state to print its own fucking money, independent of the Federal Reserve, and then he died shortly thereafter. That's a real reason to fucking kill somebody. People kill over money all the fucking time. But somehow you think because this guy wears a suit and he's in a political office that it doesn't apply to him. Are you sure it fucking applies to him? It applies to all of these people. But you have to get lost. You love these complex fucking theories. I assure you, they're bullshit. You can afford them because whatever, starvation and homelessness are far away from you right now. But when starvation and homelessness come closer, everything you think you believe, all of your fucking worldview is like going to dissolve literally in fucking seconds. It would be tragic if it wasn't so fucking funny. There was an attorney, a guy from Missouri, who was against the Federal Reserve, the third and final central bank of the United States. I thought he might have died in the Titanic. First thing I did when I read about this guy was I tried to Google if he died on the Titanic, but he wasn't a rich dude or whatever. But the National Reserve Association, which later became the Federal Reserve Corporation, will have the power of life and death over the business of every man, the affairs of every corporation, the welfare of every community, and the prosperity of the nation. It will be judge, jury, and executioner by inflating and contracting its corporate currency and raising and lowering the discount rate. It can raise and lower the price of all securities, property, and human labor. Federal Reserve cranking up them interest rates, right? Stock market crashing. I mentioned that historically there have been two other times early in the year when the Federal Reserve raised interest rates by more than 0.5% or 0.5% or more, and the S&P went up more than 2% on the same day. That happened twice, once in May of 1929 and once in March of 1929 and once in May of 2000. That's happened twice before, and it happened this year. So far, the market's only down 25%, and people saying, well, who gives a shit? I'm not in the market. I'm not a market guy, blah, 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 blah. But the stock market, whether you agree or disagree, in the mind of the public represents the economy, okay? And if the economy is going up, everything's great, and it doesn't matter, Democrats or Republicans can claim we got the strongest economy ever because look at the Dow Jones, okay? But if the Dow Jones drops 90%, okay, they can't say that anymore. They lose political legitimacy, and then now somebody's got to take the blame for this. Right now, the White House is hoping that all this shit happens on November 5th, the day after you vote Republican, and that way they can dodge the fucking blame. They can just blame shift. The Republicans, are absolute pussies in controlled opposition, and they'll be so fucking terrified they will say yes to any fucking thing. They will say yes to universal basic income. They'll say yes to whatever because they don't want to be the bad guys, because they've now gotten, whatever gig they got in Congress or whatever, and they don't want to be kicked out. They're going to be kicked out anyway, but they hope if they can just lick the boots of the angry mob, they'll be able to stay in Congress. Probably isn't going to happen. But the public perception that the Dow Jones is the economy, it's not the real economy in 100 different ways. The S&P is a better metric, even though that's not that good. But the S&P is a better metric. But if the S&P falls 75% from its high in January, there's no way you cannot say that's an economic meltdown. And the repercussions of that are going to be very real, because people base their behavior on what their expectations of the future are. And if their expectation is everything's going to be great and I'm going to continue having my prosperous life, they'll behave a certain way. But if they think, oh my God, I've lost everything, how do I come back from this? They're going to behave in an entirely different way, and you're going to see this reflected in all the crazy shit that's going to go on. Understand it's being driven by an artificial metric, the stock market, and people's expectations of what the future is going to be. But a lot of white collar people and a lot of people who are currently very successful, whose fortune is tied into the S&P, the Dow, etc. If that dumps 90%, you know what I mean? They're going to lose their fucking minds. They have big money, houses and cars, and they're paying off their student loans. And if that all ends, if they become unemployed, you're going to see some absolute fucking craziness from white collar people that you never saw before. That you never ever saw before. But listen, where is it? So let's go with this one. This one, I fucking love this. This is a great fucking meme. Hopefully it comes up big, yeah. Ben Franklin saw the problem of central banking, right? Thomas Jefferson, a bunch of other people, Andrew Jackson. The driver of so much of this stuff, when Abraham Lincoln issued the greenback and rebuffed the Bank of England, he caught a bullet in the head. When fucking John Kennedy issued a new type of fucking silver-backed currency in the 1960s, he caught a bullet in the fucking head. You know what I mean? So this is how shit goes. There's a video on YouTube. You can find it easy enough. It's like a 40-minute ish video. Covers this and some other stuff. The guy talks really fast. They got a lot of ground to cover. But it's called All Wars Are Bankers Wars. All Wars Are Bankers Wars. You just look in the search box on YouTube, and it's worth it. And I don't like the style of the video because there's a bunch of shit in there. There's a bunch of like B-roll footage constantly changing, which I guess you need to grab the attention of younger people who are always craving novelty, so you can have something different on the screen. You can't have somebody like me doing like a long monologue because they're bored with that. Like, show me puppies, show me weirdo shit while you tell me whatever you're telling me, but it distracts from the message. But if you search the YouTube search box, All Wars Are Banker Wars, this guy covers a lot, much of this, even more of this, and it makes a lot more sense than some subtly nuanced, deconstructive, neo-reactionary, blah 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 fucking bullshit that you guys always get fucking lost in. You know what I mean? There's so much stuff you get wrong. You look at the wrong fucking metrics and you draw the wrong fucking conclusions time and time and time again. And you do that because, let's face it, you can get away with it. There's no consequence. You know, dude, I was having an argument with the New Zealand guy coming back from Delphi in Greece. Right, we're in the bus going back to Athens, and this guy's telling me about crime and this and that and blah 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 and recidivism. And I'm like, motherfucker, you don't know fuck all. Like, you live in New Zealand where it's nothing but sheep. I don't know what crime looks like in New Zealand, but the crime in Nebraska is probably worse than the crime in New Zealand. But he's telling me this and that, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's got his fucking theories. And so I said to him, I said, one, what gives you the right to take money from me to enact your theories, right? What gives you that right to take the value I create? And secondarily, I said, what happens if you're fucking wrong? You want to release murderers because you think they can be rehabilitated. Well, you release the murderer and he does another murder. What's the consequence to you? And the guy couldn't compute. Just like you cannot imagine a world without the US dollar dominating everything, this guy couldn't understand the question. I was like, okay, let's play a game. I'll give you my money, the value I create, and you're going to fix a societal problem, murderers. Okay. Here you go. You have the money. You have the legal authority. Let's put your ideas into action. You put your ideas into action and you fucking fail. What happens to you, cocksucker? What happens to you? Yeah, some poor bastard got fucking shot, stabbed, strangled, thrown in front of a bus because of your theory. What is the consequence to you? And the guy literally could not imagine it. Everybody sits in their fucking ivory tower with their complex fucking theory of this is how we're going to fix the entire fucking world. Well, if you're wrong, what is the consequence to you? Do you just go, oops, I'm sorry? Do you think that that's a good way to do things? Do you think that's the way it's going to go in the future? Like, oh, well, I thought it was a good idea. So, give a hug to that person who got fucking murdered. Oh, that kid's an orphan now? Oh, well. What's the consequence to you? You cannot imagine that there will be a negative consequence to you if your shitty fucking ideas get put into play. And because there's such an enormous gap currently with the current leadership between their actions or their decisions and consequences, they never feel the consequences of any of their actions. George Bush starts a war, a bunch of guys lose their legs. He fucking goes on a bicycle ride with them if they survive and come back from fucking Iraq. And he's considered like some great fucking thing. Hey, Georgie, why don't you go fucking send somebody in your family over there to lose some fucking legs, and take them on a bicycle ride, I mean, that was like the most daring thing that he sent all these fucking guys to get fucking blasted. They come home with fucking, artificial fucking limbs, and he's going to take a bike ride with them and go, wow, I'm impressed by that courage. Yeah. So, how is your thinking about when this is all gone or what this is going to change into? How is your thinking different from what currently exists? You just want to fucking change the dudes at the top, change the skin color or the name or whatever. I'm a fascist. I'm a nationalist. You're a fucking idiot. You cannot think outside the current fucking paradigm. You're lazy, stupid, and fucking weak. And you trust your security to fucking people who are going to fucking betray you every fucking time. Anybody that stands up to the central bankers catches a fucking bullet, except Andrew Jackson. He managed to, he was a little quicker than I thought he was going to be. You know what I mean? Or he got lucky. Whichever way, it doesn't matter because you lived anyway. Right? So if you're going to avoid political instability by having your fucking leaders murdered, how do you eliminate the central banks? Because the central banks are the problem everywhere. In Lebanon, and the fucking Lebanese, they would shut the banks in Lebanon. They just shut them. People are going in with guns. Give me my money back. They just want their own money. They're not robbing the bank of other people's money. They're not doing what Joseph Stalin did or Pretty Boy Floyd did, stealing other people's money. They just want their own fucking money back. You know what I mean? And once people realize, hey, I got to take a gun into the bank and start fucking shooting people or fucking threaten to shoot people, that's the only way I'm getting my own money back. You know, it becomes a fucking thing. And like, okay, let's do this. And now the banks are like, okay, we're shut until we figure out what to do in the meantime. You know what I mean? How about give people their money back? You know what I mean? That's inconceivable to a banker. Oh, no, we have that. We're not going to give it back to you. So what do you think people are going to do? They're going to come with guns. They're going to go fucking crazy. Normal Lebanese people who just want to fucking smoke a hookah pipe and fucking whatever, drink their crappy Arabic coffee and whatever, sell rugs to fucking tourists. Now all of a sudden they become psycho terrorists. Not because they were ever psycho terrorists, but you stole their life fucking savings. What do you expect them to do? What do you expect them to do? And when shit like that starts happening here, it's going to look like the world's gone mad, but the world is not going mad. It's just a simple reaction to people having their life savings robbed. Chris Dalton in the chat. Every James monologue is a post-game locker room speech from a coach to a team that just lost by 50 points. That literally makes no fucking sense. You make zero fucking sense. I'm telling you, your ideas suck. Everything you think when the money stops working, you're going to become Antifa. Everybody in the fucking chat, 100% Antifa. You're going to be more Antifa than Antifa. Gilbert Salgado. Oh, welcome to the show. Banks don't keep enough money to cover all the depositors. That's what fractional reserve banking is all about. Oh, do tell. Oh, do tell, sir. There was for the monarchy guys. I got one for the monarchy guys. I should have studied. I should have did 5 minutes of research, but I'll just go off of what I remembered here in a couple days ago. In France, there was a king called King Philip. It's amazing. I've never heard any of you guys talk about this guy. King Philip the Fair, he was called. And he had a problem with the Knights Templar, which were all Jews. The original Knights Templar were all Jews that claimed that all their wealth was stolen in the Holy Land and they had to go back to the Holy Land and take it back. So that's why they did the Crusades, to go steal, to get their wealth back, which was never theirs to begin with, but whatever. So anyway, they had made a deal with Rome to have their own fucking castles and their own fucking banks, and they were fucking people over and doing all kinds of horrible shit. But supposedly in these castles was all this gold that they had been collecting in from people who were basically dead slaves to them. And Philip the Fair arranged, like throughout when France ran shit, to fucking arrest all these guys all at once. He had his army meet in secret, and they arrested all these guys, and they broke into the castles of the fucking Knights Templar, and there was no fucking money there. All the money was gone. You know what I mean? So the only places he didn't get in was Scotland and a couple other places. But King Philip the Fair, none of you guys ever talk about him. He arrested all the bankers. A monarch, right? Because you guys hate democracy. The democracy hater crew. Democracy Roland, you hating. You never mentioned Philip the Fair, the guy who arrested the fucking bankers. You've never even heard of him. Me mentioning him now is probably the first time you fucking heard of this guy. And come to find out the money was all fucking gone. So yeah, that there's you know, fractional reserve banking is a Rothschild invention. Yeah, there's an old black and white movie showing that. You know, they can loan 9x. Listen, VQ, they can loan 99x. they can loan 99x. And this, sir, this, sirs, and madams, so there might be some madams. There could be some madams out there that watch this show. There's a couple. It's a couple, three of them. This is what I think the future looks like. It's a 70s meme. It's a revivified 70s meme. I think it's really good. But I was a kid in the 70s, and this picture was a big deal in the 70s. If the fucking thing will ever come up. There it is. Look at that. Look how clever. Vietnam. When the US dollar dies, you're going to be desperate to get into that fucking chopper. You know what I mean? You don't believe it's going to happen, or you don't believe it's going to happen in your lifetime. So since you perceive the danger to be far away, you take no action. And that's fine. You can do that. I don't care. But this show is for people who can see the danger coming from far off and are looking to prep for it now. Well, it's relatively easy. You know, because you don't want to be those people lining up to get into fucking Bitcoin when it takes off. Okay? Because your theory that a different person is going to get elected or some strong man's going to seize power, Rice and Beans Hitler is going to take over America, and he's going to issue new peso dollar hybrids, and everyone's just going to accept the peso dollar hybrid because he's Rice and Beans Hitler, and you don't fuck with Rice and Beans Hitler. Right? You think that people are just going to accept a paper receipt of a government promise and life's going to go back to relative normal. I think you're wrong. I completely disagree with you. Gilbert Salgado, the Knights Crusaders massacred their fellow Jews in Palestine. No, it was the Muzzies. They were retaking the Holy Land from the Muslims. I don't think there were no Jews in Palestine. But thanks for calling it Palestine, not Israel, because at least you got the name, at least you got the country right. It's Palestine. It's not Israel. Even when you don't intend to, Mr. Salgado, even when you don't intend to, you manage to drop an occasional truth bomb. There were like the area of Palestine that Israel currently occupies today was chock full of Jews. Like you couldn't swing a dead chicken without hitting a Jew. Trust me, you could swing a lot of dead chickens. There was no Jews around there. They weren't there since forever and ever and ever. They went back with Russian artillery in the 40s and blasted fucking Palestinian farmers who were fucking literally unarmed and just trying to plow their fucking field with a donkey or whatever the fuck, and they're getting hit with fucking Russian artillery. On the claim that whatever, this land is ours. We were here 2,000 years ago. Typical. We were here 2,000 years ago, so we own all this. But Americans that have been here every day for the last 246 years have no fucking say in the fucking new paper Americans that they're making every fucking day, and the busloads and plane loads of tortilla Americans that they are moving about the country, right? And it's just so tedious. It's so fucking tiresome. It's so incredibly fucking tiresome, Mr. Salgado. I don't particularly care where you people live. I will tell you this, though. When the fiat system dies, and the fiat system will ultimately die, the paper promises people call money will go out of style. They're just not going to be used anymore. It's going to be garbage paper. Like the Confederate dollar is garbage paper, like the greenback became garbage paper, like whatever, like the Weimar, the Deutschmark is garbage paper. That's going to happen eventually. On what date, I don't exactly know, but it will happen. And then when the economy shifts from fiat bullshit to people really having to produce goods that are valuable or perform services that are valuable, your people are going to be in a real fucking pickle, my friend. You're going to be in quite the kosher pickle. Because, swinging a chicken over your head, to get rid of your sins, it's not going to put any matzah on the table. You follow my meaning? And if you can't live parasitically off of others by charging interest on their money, you're gonna have to produce goods and services, and you guys can't do that. Nobody wants your crappy fucking rocks that you pay Africans pennies a day to dig out of the ground, and pay Asians pennies an hour to cut and polish, and then try and sell in Western Europe and America for fucking tens of thousands of dollars per fucking fraction of an ounce. You try to do that after your co-ethnics fucked up the divorce laws so that everyone can get divorced and nobody wants to get married again. You know what I mean? You're like, whoa, how come we're not selling any more diamonds? Like, you literally can't understand. You destroy the very thing that you rely on for your existence. And it's all magical to you. Like, I don't know, just something happened. There's very clear logical ways why this occurs, but you have to one, use the correct information sources, and two, draw the correct fucking conclusions from it. Bigotry and xenophobia. So Gilbert Salgado coming out for open borders for Israel. Very brave of you, sir. I expect to see you leading the open borders for Israel charge around the world, using your real face. Go out there and tell your fellow kosher Americans, you know what I mean, that Israel needs to open its borders. Israel cannot remain, the monocultural monolith that it was. In order to survive in the 21st century, Israel is going to have to be multicultural, and Gentiles will play a leading role in this transformation. And it's going to be a difficult transformation, and we will be resented for our leading role in turning Israel into a multicultural nation, because it just won't be able to survive the 21st century as a Jewish monolith. Is that right, Mr. Salgado? You're down with that, right? Put right in the chat that you're down with that. Open borders for Israel. Go ahead, write it. You need the enrichment. Think of the tasty ethnic foods that will come from all these other cultures, from Africa. You know what I mean? There's cane rat. Israel is by law 85% Jewish. Israel, by law, denies people interracial marriage, right? Israel, by law, denies Palestinians the right to convert to Judaism, okay? It is the definition of a monolith, okay? That a bunch of fucking small hats disagree over which end of the gefilte fish to cut first is fucking unimportant. You know what I mean? 85% of the Knesset is guaranteed Jewish forever. There's DNA tests to who can be a citizen and who can't be a fucking citizen. Jonathan Pohl, welcome to the show, sir. How are things in the supermarket business? Going well, I hope. People always need food. But Mr. Salgado telling me that Israel is torn over open borders or something like that. I don't know. He's doing some really piss poor pilpul, man. That should be the title of my next stream. Piss poor pilpul, which would be which would be a subtly nuanced critique of kosher narratives. You know what I mean? No, I don't do subtly nuanced. I do fucking sledgehammer in your fucking head kind of stuff. But and you know what? It's better this way. It's a style that suits me, and two, it's it's deep down. It's what you crave deep down in your deep inner self that you hide from everyone else. It's what you crave. So yeah, trusted third parties. People are gonna have to learn that lesson. Not a good idea. Not a good idea for your wealth. Not a good idea for your security. historically, any nation that's relied on mercenaries to protect their borders, that's always failed. It's never held out. Trusted third parties are security holes, and if you examine in your own life which third parties you trust to do what, you're probably going to find you're over relying on strangers who do not have your best interest in heart. So you might want to try to correct that. You know what I mean? It means you got to do more work. It means you got to do what's his name? That dude, that kid, Praise of Folly guy, that the skinny guy, the skinny kid who used to do he used to do a round table. He had like a communist, and there's something else, and then another guy who was almost a communist, and then another guy. He used to do like these high end cerebral streams. You know what I mean? But somebody posted a link. The guy Minoan, he's on Twitter, and he posted a link to a stream this guy did. And I looked at him. I hadn't seen this kid in years, and the kid looked like he gained like 15 pounds and got a tan. And I immediately typed. I was like, "Bro, I haven't seen you in a long time." I said, "You lifting?" And he's like, "Yes." You know what I mean? So he's doing a stream on like what it means to be a man. So he's gone from using his brain to absorb whatever bits of knowledge from books to using his brain to driving his central nervous system to building his athletic ability. He's found a new outlet for using his brain. Good for him. If he keeps this up, a lifetime of exercise pays great dividends, pays absolute great dividends. Unlike our kosher friends who spend a lifetime stealing value from others, right? And then they get old and sick and they have to hand all that money over to a doctor to try and fix them. But the problem is when you spend 3, 4, 5, 6 decades, plus not exercising, they can't fix all those tubes. They can't make your bones hard again. They can't, reinvigorate your internal organs with nutrients because you've lived a life of what's the word? Lassitude. You know what I mean? And there's a price to be paid at the end of it. A much steeper price than you think. You have to hand over all that value to try and keep, that you stole from others to try and stay alive. A tiny bit of justice, but still some justice. Okay, so did I go through everything? Did I go through everything? I really did, right? And then and then arguably the only other thing, the one indication that things are really fucked up. And I've mentioned this before, like I grew up, one of my parents was mentally ill, my father was mentally ill. And when you have something like that in your family, whether it's an addict or mental illness or something like that, there's that kind of that unspoken agreement in the family that we don't talk about this, and we just pretend that didn't happen. We just don't talk about this, right? This is probably every family has something like that, like, oh, we don't talk about how racist grandma is or whatever you think it is, right? And if it's a tiny thing, if it's occasionally grandma shouts the N-word or something at Thanksgiving, okay, she probably never does that. But, you go, well, it's grandma. She's 95 years old, whatever. She grew up before with the horse and buggy. So she says stuff like that. But when there's a real big problem and there's no way to manage it, people manage things by we're going to pretend that didn't happen. We're going to pretend that wasn't said. And what's Papa Joe recently, he was giving some speech somewhere and he goes, yeah, I was 30 and she was 12 and I learned so much from her, and like just fucking dead silence. And nobody, like literally now, none of the White House spin doctors, they all were like, nope, that wasn't said. We're going to pretend that didn't happen. The entire nation now is doing that with the ersatz political fucking leadership. I'm going to suggest to you that's a bad sign. That's not a good sign whatsoever. I don't know what's going to come of it, but when this is bad. It wasn't a whole lot of fun for me growing up, and for other people who had similar backgrounds to me, like again, if you're an addict in the family or something, a big sort of problem like that nobody can solve and it won't go away. You're like, well, what do we do? We'll just pretend it didn't fucking happen. Like literally 5 minutes later, we pretend it never fucking happened. So you have an entire nation doing that. Shit's about to get interesting. You know what I mean? The thing's gonna be very, very interesting. And for me personally, I'm gonna be laughing my ass off watching people pull their hair out of their heads, unable to comprehend what's happening around them. But it's for some of it's going to be fun, but it's still going to be scary and a lot of bad shit's going to happen. But understand that there's no fixing this. You know what I mean? And your idea that we're gonna reboot, but this time with Philip the Fair or whatever, it's some other. You imagine in your arrogance, you imagine that we're going to have this entirely different system, but there's like literally nothing's going to change. You don't think of the paper receipts are going to be the same. They'll still be like an FBI. They'll be able to go into the bank and take whatever they want, drill holes in your fucking safe deposit box. Like you cannot imagine any sort of way of living where that's forbidden. You know what I mean? No, we got to have authoritarianism and a super strong government that drills into people's safe deposit boxes because national security. Well, that's what the current jerks think. You know what I mean? You think that you're going to change the fucking dude in front of behind the podium, and everyone's going to go, oh yeah, it's a different guy behind the podium, and we'll allow the same things. There's not going to be any change. So you ride out the death of the currencies, the world's currencies first, the U.S. currency last, right? The USD last, but it's going to come. And you prep for that whatever way you want to prep for that. I mean, if you want to say Jesus loves me and he's going to take me to the other side without a scratch, okay, go with that. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a good idea, but run with it. You know what I mean? I'm not spending any energy trying to convince people. You know what I mean? Gilbert Salgado. Oh my God. You gotta be trolling me, bro. We will need drastic changes in the future to avert a climate catastrophe. Yeah, we're gonna need people like you to be locked in a rubber room eating Jello, sitting in a straitjacket and eating Jello with your fucking toes. That's what we're gonna need. People like you nowhere near, like you shouldn't even be allowed near children or small fucking animals. That's how dangerously lunatic you are. Everyone always there's always a thing, that the projection thing, right? You can't control anything in yourself or what's going on around you. So you imagine you're going to control the entire world, I understand the whole planet and fucking weather and the universe, the sun, CO2, the ozone layer. You fucking, man, you couldn't even write down those sentences. You can't spell fucking ozone layer, much less fucking figure out how it's supposed to work. I love these fucking Insta experts. And Jews are the fucking Insta experts on anything. They don't know fuck all about fuck all, but they're going to sit there and go, I know everything about the ozone layer, planetary atmospherics, gravity. I understand why stars implode and explode, and I can tell from the fucking nanograms of gamma rays. Get the fuck out of here. Like, there has to be comedy. Oh, where's that fucking dude? This was the best fucking thing. Where's that other guy? Where's that other guy? Another guy. This guy. I remember this dude. There's always a thing with members of the tribe. Members of the tribe. You think I'm being anti-Semitic? Members of the tribe, they have this thing. If they're talking fast, they're trying to get you to avoid noticing this and convince you of a lie. If they're talking slow, who's that guy? Paul something. Paul Town. The fuck is Paul Town? Yeah, Paul Town. He's like some rich West Coast Jew who talks slowly and says mediocre things in a way that he believes sounds profound. Like, listen, if you're talking fast, you're trying to hustle somebody. If you're talking extra slow, you think what you're saying is so fucking profound. It's fucking literally the only two tricks you actually have. But there was this dude. I'll show you this guy. Okay, he was in Bitcoin for a while. It seemed to be in Bitcoin for a while. There's a type of Bitcoin secondary product, GBTC. It's like it's whatever. It's some other fucking electronic security that was supposedly tied to the number of Bitcoins. This guy on Twitter called himself Bitcoin Tina, Tina, Bitcoin Tina. There is no alternative. So, guy calling himself Bitcoin Tina, you would think, wow, this guy's a total fucking Bitcoin maximalist. Like, I'm not extreme enough in my view of how Bitcoin's going to change the world. Like, I'm not crazy enough. Like, I'm like Mr. Casper Milquetoast, but Bitcoin Tina, there is no alternative. This guy's like hardcore. So he's having an argument, or it came out recently that this guy never actually owned any Bitcoin. There's another dude above him that says, just so everyone knows, Bitcoin Tina didn't own any Bitcoin. He was buying GBTC and leveraging it. So it was like whatever. He was a shitcoin trader essentially, using GBTC to leverage paper Bitcoin. He got liquidated, right? So he lost all his money, and he said LARP. So Bitcoin Tina says every sale a profit. He claims that he didn't lose any money, but to go back to Chris Olton's point, every savings vehicle has an exit point. You don't understand. Bitcoin is not the balloon. Bitcoin is the pin that pops the balloon. It's going to replace all of the fiat on the planet Earth. It's not like you buy. There are people that try and do this. They buy Bitcoin at $5 and they think, well, I'm gonna hold on to it and I'm gonna sell it to 6 months from now for $500, and I'm gonna get a big bag of fiat, and I'm gonna buy a Lamborghini, and I'm gonna snort cocaine out of a supermodel's ass crack, and I'm gonna be happy. So they just see this as a vehicle to get more fiat and to live a fiat lifestyle. Okay. But Bitcoin maximalists, lunatics like myself, have an entirely different worldview. Now, you could argue that we're wrong and that, paper receipts are going to stick around forever, or they're going to find a new way to verify transactions in silver and gold, and that'll create a global economy that's fast and verifiable. I doubt they'll be able to do that, but you could say I'm wrong for a couple of different reasons, but you don't have any sort of well-founded arguments. But Ghost of Awi Dieter Bob, when Bitcoin Tina says that every sale was a profit. So here's a Jewish guy, who tried to convince you that he was something that he was not, tried to convince you he was a Bitcoin maximalist, who was just using you as exit liquidity, even though he claims every sale was a profit. He's full of shit. But Ghost Awi Dieter Bob posted a little dog picture, and the dog is not drinking retard juice. The dog is drinking dumb fuck juice. Now I thought retard juice was pretty strong drink for a lot of people, and I thought I know my audience drinks a lot of retard juice. I don't know how much of my audience drinks dumb fuck juice. But is Awi Dieter Bob, is he anti-Semitic because he mocked Bitcoin Tina, the Jewish guy, and Bitcoin Tina used to go on these Twitter Spaces things, and people would ask questions, and he'd be so exhausted. Oh, but you don't understand Bitcoin. You don't understand. You haven't done the work. You haven't done the work to understand. This fucking, I was like, you fucking piece of shit. Like I was like, I couldn't stand this guy. But he was all over these fucking spaces. And he never actually owned any Bitcoin. He was just trading shitcoins in the background and bouncing them off of Bitcoin. I don't know what the fuck he was doing, but I don't care what he's doing. He's gone, and the world is a better place, or the Bitcoin world is a better place with his absence. Gilbert Salgado, Bitcoin may triumph in the future, but I'm sticking with the US dollar for now. Good for you. God bless. Best of luck to you. Again, this is as clear as I can possibly make it. Me storing my wealth, or the amount of wealth that I generate, in paper receipts, green pieces of paper issued by the Federal Reserve Corporation of America. I think that's a bad idea. I've done that my entire life. I don't want to do it anymore. I do it a different way now. Okay. I store my wealth in Bitcoin. You may, if you choose, continue to store your wealth either in the green pieces of paper or other pieces of paper that are denominated in the USD. You're free to do that. I'm not stopping you from doing that. What I'm saying is, I think I found a better way. Okay. I think I found a safer way to store my wealth. Okay. The value that I create by driving boxes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. You can disagree with me. You can say, no. The green pieces of paper issued by Jews at the Federal Reserve are guaranteed valuable for the next 500 years. Okay. I think you're more delusional than the potheads who don't dream. You know what I mean? But whatever, we could argue who's more delusional, but trusted third parties are security holes. You're trusting that the people at the Federal Reserve Bank are going to maintain the value of those green pieces of paper throughout your life, and especially at the end of your life. I don't trust them. I don't like them. I don't trust them. And their track record is poor. So I make a different choice. That's it. You could do, like I said, whatever you want to do, man. You want to think that Jesus is going to carry you through something and people are going to become super communistical when the dollar collapses and everyone's going to give each other free food and housing and energy and cars and clothes and all the rest. I don't know. Maybe that'll happen. I think it's not very likely, but whatever. I guess it's not outside the realm of possibility. I just think that, again, for the value I create, I will not store it in green pieces of paper issued by the Federal Reserve, right? I use the minimum amount of that I can use. And you're free to disagree with me. You're absolutely free to disagree with me, but you can't engage on that level. Okay. You just can't engage in that level. What is the best way to store the value you create in your life? Whether I don't have children, but who knows? There might be some incredibly hot 25-year-old supermodel chick who wants to get pregnant by me. Yeah, that'll happen. But whatever. But, what if I want to pass my wealth on to my children? How could I do that? Could I give them a green stack of paper and they'll still be worth money? Because if you did that in Weimar, Germany, it wouldn't have worked. If you did that in the Confederate South, it wouldn't have worked. If you did that when Abraham Lincoln issued greenbacks, it wouldn't have worked. Okay? If you did that when John F. Kennedy issued the silver certificates, it wouldn't have fucking worked. So what is the way that I can pass on my wealth? Or what if I find some really worthy Jews? Maybe I decide to donate all my money to some worthy small hats. You know what I mean? How would I do that? And that it would be still valuable and not just some green fucking piece of paper that nobody accepts anymore. Can you conceptualize that? How do I transfer value over time or maintain value over time? You don't, I take the green pieces of paper that the government gives me. Okay, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. You can do that. And to the degree I have to fucking transact in this, I transact in this. But mostly I don't. That's all. That's it. and the world going fucking crazy around you is the death of those green pieces of paper. Your stupid fucking, oh, we're going to elect rice and beans Hitler, whatever, the dumb shit you fucking think. It's because most of you live off of wealth created by previous generations. And your primary concern is, one, you're not super elite. And two, your lifestyle may be going on the downturn. So, and you think you think you're going to change something. You're not going to change anything. Okay. A lot of these forces are they're just in motion. Your best bet, get the fuck out of the way. Don't stand in front of any of this. Don't join any fucking group. Don't do anything in fucking public. Get the fuck out of the way. Zig when everyone else zags. And that's your best fucking bet. You see, Hugh, why the hate? Jim, I'm the hater. Like, literally, whatever. Like, do you imagine that really fucking works? Do you imagine that? Oh, you're a hater. You sound like a fucking faggot. Jesus Christ, you sound like a fucking faggot. Literally, you sound like a fucking homosexual. There are gay guys who probably think that you're fucking gay. You know what I mean? They're like, there's dudes that are like queer as the fucking day is long that would look at you like, why are you such a fucking homo? All of the shit, you're a hater, you're a racist, you're a this, you're that. That doesn't mean fucking shit to me, you dumb fuck. Do you understand where you are? Do you understand where you are? Right? This is like free speech. You can like it or you can not like it. I don't give a fuck what you fucking think about it. You could criticize it, you could say whatever the fuck you want to say about me. I never cried that anyone was a hater. I never assumed the fucking moral authority that I could decide who was a fucking good person or who wasn't a good person. This is more fucking Semitic bullshit. The reason why you're hated is because of your fucking behavior and the shit you say. The F word is a hateful word. Oh, go fuck yourself. This is getting this has gotten to the point where I'm throwing rocks at useless fucking dogs. So it says Gilbert Salgado was blocked. So I banned this fucking guy. This guy's like a pointless irritant. You know what I mean? There are times where I can be irritated and do like a great fucking rant off that, and then other times it just drags you down. And so we can say goodbye. We can say goodbye to Mr. Salgado because I'm not investing any other time in his the same lame, shitty fucking arguments. You know what I mean? They're the world's greatest recyclers because they just recycle the same shitty arguments over and over. Anyway, so don't trust third parties with your wealth. I don't think that's a good idea. You feel free to disagree. Okay. Rearranging who's behind the podium and what the form of governance is, as long as there's a central bank, changes nothing, right? The central bankers control everything. When the central bankers control who gets rich generationally, who gets God tier wealth, and who dies starving and homeless, there's no political system that can survive that. I pointed it out that William the Conqueror paid 40% interest to Jews. That bishops and entire towns were owed money to Aaron of Lincolnshire. Every form of human governance can be compromised by the control of incentives, the control of the money, that there's a central treasury that someone can steal from or borrow against has destroyed everything. When you can debase the currency like the Romans did, when you can do fractional reserve banking the way the Rothschilds do, you end up getting all sorts of negative consequences. I'm opting out. You don't want to do that? Fine, you don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Go listen to Luke Ford. You know what I mean? Go listen to fucking Claire Call or other some other fucking stupid shit. You know what I mean? As long as you can afford to do it. And then someday you'll find yourself fighting a 6'4", 275-pound dindu for a fucking packet of ramen noodles. And you're going to think, hey, maybe I should have made some different choices. But that day is not today. So, enjoy it while you can. All right. This is an hour and 36. An hour and 36, I'm fucking going nonstop. So let's, the stream snipers have been in and out. The hobos, fucking Norvin Hobbs and the FBI welfare cases, what's the other guy? OV and the sperm sucker, Patrick Bateman. I've been watching the counter. For me, there's a counter over here. I've been watching the counter jump up and down as they zero content motherfuckers. It's pathetic. Anyway, listen, lift weights, go live your life, touch grass, don't spend too much time online, and don't trust central bankers. You know what I mean? They used to say, don't trust anybody over 30. Don't trust any central bankers. That's my message. That's my message for this Monday chill stream, which is really it's my same message as every other chill stream. But 2VQ, Jonathan Pohl, selling lots of booze. Yeah, because people are unhappy. People want to feel happier, and they use part of the problem with drugs, right? Part of the problem with drugs is that they work. This is the biggest problem with drugs. They work. People feel like shit. They have negative feelings. Something bad's happened to them. They've been raped. They've been robbed. They've been beaten. Whatever, right? And then somebody says, here, drink this. You'll feel better. Or here, smoke this or snort this or take this fucking pill and you'll feel different. And the problem is it works. It works. It costs them money. It'll cost them their dignity. It gives them separate problems elsewhere. But in the short term, it works. And that's why people keep going back to it. People don't go back to shit that doesn't work. You know, even the whatever feds, spooks, the ADL, nobody would show up without a paycheck. They're just not doing it. They may hate you all fucking every minute of every day and twice on fucking Sunday, but if there's no paycheck in it, they're not going to fuck with you. They just can't afford to. You know what I mean? No one works for free. So that drugs work, alcohol being the mildest form, and then it goes up from there. Drugs work, which is why people use them. If they didn't work, people wouldn't use them. Shit that doesn't work, people don't do, generally. So with that in mind, again, looking at that metric, does this make you feel different? Yes. Oh, but it's only for a few hours. It causes other problems. People, they don't care. I just can't handle right now these extreme negative feelings that I have, and I need help. And the help comes from a glass or comes from something you smoke or something you snort or whatever, something you shoot in your fucking veins, and that works. That's the problem with drugs. They work. There's a very real danger there. And there aren't a whole lot of good fucking answers to this. There aren't a tremendous amount of answers, interventions you can use to stop people from doing this. You know, that's an unfortunate reality. That is a very, very unfortunate reality. But okay, listen, 1 hour 40. Enough is enough. Enough is enough already. Next week, some other shit will happen. The market will melt down. Joe Biden will fucking show pictures of him and a fucking 9-year-old. And the White House will release another picture of him petting a dog or fucking holding a kitten or whatever the fuck. And the world will get crazier and crazier. And then Thanksgiving will be here. Halloween, Thanksgiving, and it'll be the worst Christmas in 50 years. And people go, oh, what does that mean? It means the dollar's dying. And I suggest you protect yourself against that one way or another. My method you may think sucks. Maybe you think you have a better method. Go ahead and do that. And whatever, man. Hopefully everybody had a little bit of fun tonight watching me beat up on Salgado. And he's blocked now, so he's banned. Enough's enough with him. Can you imagine having to come somewhere to be abused just to get attention? Jesus fucking Christ! What a worthless life! What a horrible worthless life! Like you need to get abused in order for anyone to pay attention to you. How full of self-loathing must you be? Oy vey, oy vey, as they say in the land of matzah. In the land of matzah, they cry oy vey as they strike you. All right, enough's enough. Listen, guys, V. Hugh, Chris Alton, Virgstock, Purple Heart, and Jonathan Pohl. Thanks for showing up. I'm going to let you guys out now, and I'll see you guys again next week.